A profound silence filled the ship. The crew watched intently as the greenish planet loomed through the glass. For a week now, the crew of the research vessel SS Vindicator had been orbiting this strange world. Eaden Crane, a scientist on the team, felt his pulse quicken with excitement. Everything they anticipated about this planet was shrouded in mystery. They were the first humans to come here, and stepping into the unknown was their only option. Commander Arlen Groves stood at the helm, observing the ship and its crew with a calm and steady gaze. "All right, everyone," he said in his deep, reassuring voice. "As the first exploration team, we need to stay alert with every step. If you notice any signs of cognitive interference, report it immediately." The scientists, including Eaden Crane, astrobiologist Merrick Quillen, and psychologist Tessa Hawk, prepared their equipment, checking their helmets and oxygen tanks before waiting for the hatch to open. Arlen was one of the most experienced and intelligent commanders. He'd been chosen to lead them precisely because of the planet's rumored cognitive risks. As the ship's ramp opened, gravity slowly pulled the team downward. Beneath a gray, mystical fog lay giant, alien plants and rock formations of all sizes, never before seen by human eyes. The ground was strangely soft and sticky, almost as if it was reaching up to meet them. Arlen turned to the team. "If you feel any cognitive shifts or changes in perception, report them immediately. And stay calm." Suddenly, tall, slender creatures emerged from the shadows, catching their attention. Their eyes were like dark voids, their bodies blending seamlessly with the environment. Their movements were fluid and silent, almost like they were drifting on the wind. Eaden found himself transfixed by the creatures' haunting stares. It felt as if they were making a conscious effort to connect with him. Commander Arlen raised a hand in a calm signal to withdraw, indicating that they meant no harm. But the creatures suddenly surged forward. Their limbs extended toward the humans with unexpected speed, wrapping around them one by one. The creatures attacked not just with their bodies but with their minds. Eaden began to feel strange images flooding his consciousness. Memories of his childhood, moments with his family, and long-forgotten fears resurfaced vividly. "They're trying to take control of your thoughts," Arlen shouted, his voice steady but laced with tension. "Keep your minds focused, don't let go of your concentration." But the creature's attack was so overwhelming that the crew could feel their minds being invaded moment by moment. Eden's consciousness began to blur, his memories slipping away as if these beings were consuming them, leaving nothing but emptiness behind. Commander Arlen drew his heavy plasma weapon from his belt. "We have to fight them physically," he shouted, firing at the nearest creature. The blast forced it back, but it was only a temporary gain. The plasma weapon's charge was limited, and as it dwindled, the creatures pressed their assault, slowly cornering the humans with their memory-draining power. For a moment, Arlen noticed that Merrick could barely even remember his own name, his consciousness clouded and fragile. "Retreat!" Arlen yelled. "Back to the ship's protective barrier." But with each step, they grew weaker against the creature's relentless attacks. Their memories became a battleground for survival. As the crew scrambled back toward the ship, Arlen could feel his memories fading with every stride. Eaden, in a last desperate effort, pushed through the fog clouding his mind and ran for the ship, shouting, "You won't take my memories," using his remaining strength to make it back. Finally, with Arlen's command, the crew managed to seal the ship's doors, securing themselves inside. The creatures remained outside, waiting ominously on the other side. The team had fought desperately to hold on to their consciousness, yet the ordeal was far from over. Looking back at what they had nearly lost, they realized that these beings were not just interested in consciousness. They were determined to devour every part of humanity's past. Once the ship's doors were forcibly closed, those inside looked at each other in tense silence. Arlen was out of breath, his eyes still fixed on the semi-transparent creatures with their flickering bodies just outside. "Is everyone here?" he asked, his voice hoarse. He was scanning the crew, trying to assess any injuries. Merrick placed a shaky hand on his forehead, his vision slightly blurred. "Something's wrong with my memories," he said in a wavering voice. "It's like some things I can't quite remember. Or worse, some memories don't even feel like mine." Arlen realized the creature's attack was more dangerous than he'd anticipated. These beings were not only entering their minds but also manipulating their memories. If the team couldn't defend their consciousness, they could soon be completely detached from their identities. All right, everyone's here. Now, we need to find a way to protect ourselves from this assault. For a while, they worked to set up makeshift barricades in different areas of the ship. Though the ship wasn't particularly resistant to these mental attacks, at least it could slow the creatures down. In a small lab away from the others, Tessa was measuring the electromagnetic signals emitted by the creatures. "These aren't ordinary beings," she said to the others. "They're able to move based on mental energy and redirect energy waves. That's probably how they're transferring consciousness." Arlen locked eyes with Tessa, formulating a plan. "We need to turn their own attack method against them," he said. "Maybe we can set up a conscious defense against their mind invasions. If we strengthen certain memories as a team, we might gain some resistance." Outside, the creatures suddenly launched a new assault. The ship shook, and their mental waves pierced through the metal walls. With every tremor, each crew member felt as though they were reliving a memory. Sometimes a battle scene, sometimes a long-forgotten childhood moment flashing before their eyes. Eaden turned to Arlen, a determined look in his eyes. "We could try to form a kind of mental shield with our strongest memories. If we can use our deepest memories as a defense mechanism, we might hold on to our minds." Commander Arlen gathered the team into a tighter defensive formation. "Everyone, start thinking about your most vivid memories," he ordered. In his own mind, he revisited his military training as a child, his grueling missions, and his unwavering belief in fighting for humanity. As each person held onto a specific memory, these memories grew more vivid and unbreakable. The creature's mental waves shook the ship more and more, but the team's collective memories served as a powerful defense. However, the creatures sensed the humans' resistance and launched an even stronger wave of assault. When they targeted Marek's mind, he found himself transported back to the night he first gazed at the stars as a child. As the creatures entered his love for the stars, Marek's mental walls began to crack. "I can't hold on. My memories are slipping," he gasped. The others heard his cry and immediately focused on helping him. Together, they projected the stars into his mind's eye, helping him reclaim his memory. As a team, they created a circle of resistance around his consciousness. But the creatures suddenly intensified their assault. As the ship filled with their psychic energy, the crew's memories became blurred, with some fading away. Arlen, gripping his plasma weapon, decided that they would need to resort to physical combat as a last resort. "Everyone, maintain your mental connection, and let's push them back," he shouted with determination. Eaden activated a mechanism to emit energy barriers. The ship sent out a powerful electromagnetic wave that disrupted the creatures' forms, making them tremble and weaken. This momentarily halted the creatures' psychic assault, but they were quick to adapt and prepared for an even stronger attack. With the ship momentarily quiet, Arlen took a deep breath. "These attacks are slowly draining us. Every second, every moment makes them more resilient against us." He knew the crew needed to be mentally and physically resilient. Yet, the creatures' manipulation of their consciousness was slowly wearing them down. Trapped inside the ship, the humans clung to their most cherished memories to strengthen their defenses. As the assaults continued, they fortified their minds with memories of humanity's unforgettable moments, their connection to their past, and their identities, creating a final shield of defense. Inside the ship, time seemed to have stopped. Every crew member was deeply absorbed in their memories, struggling to shield their minds from the relentless assault. Outside, the translucent creatures continued to seep through the ship's hull, each wave of attack more intense than the last. Eaden, Marek, and Tessa clung to their deepest memories to resist, while Commander Arlen took the front, focusing entirely on keeping the creatures at bay. The creatures outside grew increasingly fierce with their psychic attacks, targeting not just memories but the darkest corners of the human mind. Eaden relived childhood fears, trying to weaponize them against the invaders, but every second made this task harder. Arlen fired his plasma weapon again, aiming directly at the creatures. But as soon as the plasma bolt struck, the creatures dispersed like smoke, only to reform and resume their attack. "Physical attacks won't work," he muttered. Turning to his team, he said, "We need another way to stop these things, or we'll be trapped here." Tessa suggested using the ship's communication system to establish an external link. "Maybe we can create a frequency that disrupts their psychic energy," she said. "If we can block their consciousness transfer, we might keep them away from the ship." Arlen nodded in agreement. It's worth a try. Go ahead. Tessa concentrated fully on the control panel, analyzing the creature's energy waves and working to create a counter-frequency. Each second that passed brought a new wave of attacks, as the creatures probed deeper into the crew's memories. Merrick clung to a memory of his last stargazing night, but even that was starting to fade as the creatures dug into his mind. Suddenly, Tessa's frequency radiated out from the ship, emitting a powerful electromagnetic wave that interrupted the creature's psychic energy and threw them back a few meters. Arlen seized the chance, recharging his plasma weapon and firing repeatedly at the creatures. Weakened by the electromagnetic wave, they crumbled upon impact, their structures failing one by one. But they quickly regrouped and resumed their attack, proving that this was only a temporary solution. Eaden, his eyes set with determination, prepared for one last desperate attempt. He gathered all his deepest memories, moments with family and loved ones, those precious moments he held dear, and focused them into a single thought. Immersed entirely in these memories, he created a mental shield against the creature's onslaught. Though it managed to hold off the psychic attacks for a brief time, he knew it couldn't last. Now! Arlen shouted. Prepare the escape route before they regroup. Tessa engaged the engines, initiating the fastest takeoff protocol. As the ship's engines roared to life, the creatures launched one final powerful wave of psychic energy. This time, it was so intense that each crew member felt their memories beginning to unravel. But as the ship lifted off, Tessa increased the frequency of the electromagnetic signal to its maximum strength. The creature's psychic force was entirely disrupted by the signal, scattering their energy. Enclosed in a protective field, the ship quickly rose through the atmosphere and away from the planet's pull. Finally, the ship broke free of the planet's gravity. Exhausted yet triumphant, the crew exhaled in relief. Arlen, still holding a determined gaze, turned to his team and said, "This experience has shown us just how powerful the human memory is. Those creatures tried to destroy us with our own pasts, but we held onto our identities and resisted. This had been one of humanity's greatest battles to protect their memories." I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.